Hello, good morning. I'm gonna plant out some zinnias. Years ago, I had a great big patch of them, but I had a couple of dogs in the yard. So they took care of the rabbits for me. So this year, I'm gonna have to fence them off because they get chewed down. At least until they get really sturdy. I don't know, they might be able to survive once the stems have become super thick. But if you wanted to, I thought you could sit here. I got a bunch of grass I need to pull out of here. Got a hosta coming up right there. Can you see it? Give my mind and my hands something to do, right? It's Monday, May 25th. It's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. To those of you that served, I myself am not a veteran, but my mother is. So maybe I should take her to lunch or invite her over. I'm not much of a going out for lunch person, so I'd rather make her lunch. Both of my grandfathers in World War II. One who was at all 4 landings in the Pacific. He was a Marine, although I think they were all Marines back then, mostly. My other grandfather was a POW in France. My father-in-law is a vet. He was a helicopter mechanic. And a cook. Kind of did both. He's a good dude, I like him. You know, after this last election, I don't know, my husband and I had gone over to his parents' house to do stuff. I don't know what I was doing, painting the kitchen or, stuff. Anyway, I looked at my father-in-law, whose name is Van. I said, Van, please tell me you didn't vote for this man. And that old veteran boomer from North Dakota, you know what he said to me? Why on earth would I vote for that man? I said, I don't know. Why the hell would anybody vote for that man? They're good people, my in-laws. Been Democrats since their parents came up during FDR. And my mother-in-law, her parents were farmers. I mean, my grandparents were farmers too, but my grandmother didn't keep farming. Her brother took over the farm, so. My grandmother actually went into civil service. She wanted to join up during World War II, but she wasn't 21, so she still needed her dad's permission. And her dad was a farmer who was much more familiar with World War I and stood in the way. Like, I know his son wanted to go. They had 11 kids, and one of his boys wanted to join up, and the story goes that Papa went to the line and got in the way and said, I need him home at the farm. He can't go. They were a little upset. Anyway, so my grandmother couldn't join the service and go fight or, be a woman in the service. So she joined the civil service and worked for them her whole life. Earned a pension. But in any case, they remember FDR, the both of them. Her parents were farmers. And boy, the stories they could tell you about the government killing off cattle. I mean, don't get me wrong, not all the policies were fantastic, but the drought was so severe. I know my husband's grandmother told me one day the cattle couldn't breathe out on the prairie. Their faces would get covered with mud and dirt, and they'd suffocate and die. And they weren't fattening up. They were so skinny. They were all starving to death. Anyway, some shit happened with piglets in Nebraska too. It was to drive the price down. There was an overabundance of food and inflation, and nobody had any money. Sound familiar? Gobs of food were rotting on the shelves. Nobody had any money to buy it. I feel like we're in the same place again. And all the investment bros are just trying to start wars for, resources so they can steal resources from other human beings. That's why we're pulling this shit in the Middle East. Because all the AI data bros need all their energy. They need to double the amount that they're doing now in order to get to some, whatever the magical number is of AI data, Anyway, I'll stop talking about it. Just plant the flowers. Now, World War II, we should have gotten into that a lot sooner. I also feel like we should help Ukraine, because I don't think that's cool. Russia gets to walk all over people. And now this business with Cuba and Lindsey Graham, who's saying that Cuba's stealing all its money. Dude, that country has been sanctioned to high heaven, just like Iran, since forever. From Western countries. It's not communism that did that to them. The capitalists are just mad because they don't want communism. I don't think they really, all they want is the money, right? And so whatever governing body is quicker to give them all the money, that's what they're gonna put their weight behind. Can you see this? This is Eryngium. It's green now, but it'll turn purple or like a blue. It's real pretty. What do we got here? Weeds. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. You guys probably just want to watch some gardening video. But I am a whole person. I have stuff on my mind. Anyway, happy Memorial Day, I guess is the point of all that. I've known a few. The Gen X variety that got caught up in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's no good, man. Human beings shouldn't be treated that way. Then they don't get the care they need when they're done. They're not heard, they're not listened to. What do you think? You think that'll do it? I'm gonna have to fence this off, and so me getting in here to pull grass, all this flippin' grass, isn't gonna work. All right. Plus, I'm kind of lazy. I don't wanna pull weeds all day. Hang on, let me grab some flowers. You know what I need? I've got a pretty decent dagger in the house. It's not a dagger, it's a hori-hori knife, but it works really well for getting in ground that's kind of hard. This isn't very hard ground, but there's quite a bit of clay under there. 1 second, I'm gonna grab it. Oh, you know, and I didn't mean to question my father-in-law after the election, but he's that age, it's North Dakota, and I feel like that crowd isn't very honest, you know, so I couldn't. But I trust him. I trust him. He never says anything that I could repeat on YouTube about the dude whenever I see him, so I know how he feels about him. He's very angry. The price of everything. I don't know what the hell gas is at today. We have a lawnmower, right? Like a gasoline lawnmower, but about, it was after Russia invaded Ukraine and our gas prices jumped and everybody around here was blaming, you know, Joe didn't invade a country. That's true. So right now, though, our gas prices are going up because somebody decided they were gonna do that to us on purpose. So all the tech bros could trade their stock. Anyway, I'm rambling. Where am I going? Oh, that's nice soil right there. I'm getting distracted. I forgot what the hell I was talking about. The power of gardening. Man, I do not want the rabbits to eat these down. I'm really hesitant to put anything out here, but I really want to because it looks really pretty. Ouch, I forget that thing's serrated on one side. Cut myself all the time. This one I bought from a local greenhouse grower. This is Queen Lime, unique green colored flowers. It's more of a limey yellow, really, but it's green enough for me. So I think they're really pretty. Oh man. I potted this one up because he needed a bit more soil and he hadn't. That was just about a week ago. It's fine. It'll be all right. Put you in some better soil here. These things can get really robust. The stem on them gets real wide. The plant can, if you give enough, you know what I mean? I threw them in here one year quite by accident. I had a handful. I don't know what the heck to do with these about 4 or 5 years ago. And the whole thing just became this huge, big pink bank because I had the one variety. Yeah. It's pretty. The bees love it. The butterflies dig it. And they're easy, man. They're pretty easy. They're easy going, I guess is what I should say. You know, if you're new, they'll give you a heck of a lot of reward, I guess is what I'm saying. New to gardening. Oh yeah. World War II and the Great Depression. You know, I know that stock market tanked and most people blame that on the, the Great Depression, but the truth is, the average person just didn't have any money anymore. Nothing. They had no money. So they couldn't turn around and buy all their bullshit. All the billionaires and the millionaires, well, back then, right? We didn't have billionaires. So nobody has any money to buy anything, and the shit just sits on the shelves and rots. You know what I really hate about big outfits, big sellers like big box stores and grocers, big commercial grocers. If that produce sits there and rots, they can write that off as a loss. And then we give them tax breaks for that, which is us writing them a check, by the way. I was thinking about that. Bezos again, and him talking about the fact that, he pays so much in taxes. Here's my question. How much of our tax dollars go right back to him, though? Does he ever end up actually paying for anything, or is it just a wash because we give him so much free money? Just curious. Plus, he treats his employees like shit. Just exploitation all the way down. That's all those billionaires are. What the hell, man? He hates our guts. So all of a sudden now he's a little upset about some reciprocity? It's obvious he hates our guts. The average everyday dude, right? He just wants to make a bunch of money. That's all he loves, is money. I do not admire wealthy people, man. I just don't. I think they're full of shit. Most of all of them, except for maybe Gary Stevenson out of the UK, were born with a feckin' trust fund. And then they just invest that, or they borrow against debt, you know what I mean? Like they say, like, take out a loan, buy up a lot of housing, and then you can borrow against the value of the housing, even though they don't actually own it, they still have a loan. You know what I mean? But they do it on a much bigger scale. Here we go. What do you think of that? A couple of zinnias. Can you see them both? Yeah, you can. Okay. Okay, and then over here, I have two varieties. Elegance, which should be green again, and Envy, which are pink. Big pink palm flowers. I don't know if they're palms so much as sort of like a half, like this. Not a full, do you know what I'm saying? I like these, but if they're a little more flat and open, it gives your pollinators access to the inside. That's where they want to go. If it's full of blooms, they make these dahlias with these big palms. They look like big pom-poms. They're gorgeous, but the pollinators can't get through all the petals. I think I've decided I'm just gonna I'm eco-friendly just to piss people off. Like, it annoys them, so that's why I do it. I think people like Jeff Bezos would just prefer if people like me just fucking died. That if that system just squeezed every last ounce of my life and my pocket, and then I just die. That's what he wants. And so in that same spirit, I refuse to die. Just to irritate him till the end of my days. Oh. It's hard on my body. I'm getting mud all over you. It's suppose if I put my shoes on all the way, life would be a little easier. Should we stick a pink one in here? Hey, if you're new here, welcome. And 9 times out of 10, no matter what I'm doing, I'm probably gonna talk bad about the elite billionaire class. Doesn't matter what I'm getting up to. Sewing, painting, crafting. They are the reason why we can't have nice things. Or healthcare, right? And then they turn around and they tell all of my fellow Americans that the reason why I don't have nice things is just because I'm lazy. Nope. Stubborn, very stubborn. Lazy, I am not. Once upon a time, I worked a lot. Too much. And it broke my body. And it wasn't very helpful for my mental state of mind either. So I gave that up about a decade ago. And we learned how to live on a lot less. I mean, when you lose 2/3 of your income overnight, that's kind of tough. But it was that or my life, you know? And I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather be, I don't know, I guess the term is broke, right? We don't have any money. If I don't make any money, I don't spend any money. That's kind of how I feel about it. Doesn't bother me. Money's overrated. I mean, I get, you know, we're all very broke and it's very expensive, and so in that sense, money is not overrated. You know what I mean? I'm not being foolish. Here, sorry, can't really see what I'm doing. There we go. Better? Kind of? But just, you know, working for the sake of more money. And then what happens? You know what? You know what I mean? Like, if you have more money, that's it. You just have more money. And then what happens? Those people are the most miserable people ever. Hateful. They hate their employees and they hate their customers. You know what I mean? Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or, you know, the other one at the top. I hate saying his name. I just refuse. The dude in the big house. He despises all of us. Hey man, I thought there was a little worm. I saw some leaves chewed up. Wait, where are you at? Here. You see this ugly thing? Yeah. Oops, where's the camera? There it is, little tiny guy. One of my leaves is chewed on. Where should I put you? Let's throw you out back. 1 second. There. I tossed him over the fence. Yeah, I tossed him over the fence. Just go eat on something else, man. Just don't eat my... Just go eat on something else. Go live somewhere else. Well, that's not very inclusive of me, is it? No. Not little cutworms, man. You get out of here. Little inchworms, little, you know what I mean, little green guys. It's going to be very warm today, even though it's nice and cool at the moment. Up in the 90s. My hubs is convinced he didn't win. That it was, you know, that South Afrikaner like rigged the whole thing. I'm too cynical. There's a little chickadee behind me. Oh, no, he flew off, never mind. Anyway, I just figure, nah, man. America is just racist and hateful, and a bunch of women-hating bigots, you know what I mean? Like, they just fucking hate women. And people who don't conform to their whatever, man, whatever their version. They're just made, I mean, the LGBTQ, the queer community writ large, they're made out to be this whatever. The boogeyman. It's a, you know what I mean? Like, and then a year from now they'll pick somebody new, because that's what they do. Just find somebody else to hate. You know what I mean? Kind of like all of a sudden now it's Iranians, excuse me. They didn't attack us, and they have good reason to dislike America. Very good reason. When you go in there and you steal all their shit, man, people get bent. So you should stop doing that, and then they'll like you. And we've been sanctioning them to high heaven. There's another one. For the last, what, since Reagan? Since when? Since Rumsfeld? Since how long have we been doing that? So they've been living on their own, dude. These people who seem to think that we're gonna destroy them economically, I think we already did that. And they learned how to just get on with it. They can hold out longer than we can, is what I'm saying. America is so stupidly young. There are buildings in the UK that are older than this entire country that are still standing and people live in them. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're so young and stupid. I don't know, man. And will we get there, or will we fall down? You know, everybody talks about the fall of Rome. Well, not everybody. Just a certain subset that sits and ruminates on some shit that happened 2,000 years ago. Yeah. Anyway. You know how people say Rome wasn't built in a day? Yeah, it didn't fall in a day either. That shit took 400 years. So, like, I don't know. Americans sitting around thinking, like, this is the end times, and it might be. But that actual day won't come for quite some time. It's going to be very painful until then. Let's see, I've got green, 4 green ones in there. Let's put some pink ones in there. Elegance, yeah. I don't know, man. I apologize for running my mouth if it's not what you want to hear, but there are a billion YouTube channels out there, so, you know, you're free to scroll on. If you don't like politics with your gardening. Gardening is political, though. I think life is. The whole thing is. The whole thing. Your life is dominated by who's in charge. And I don't think it could ever be more obvious. Let's see. I've got some echinacea growing up in here. That's perennialized. There's a couple of seedlings too I saw that are sprouting up. Yeah, there's a little bit here. Purple coneflowers, right? Okay. And there's at least some native planting on my part. They grow around here. Out on the prairies, on the bluffs. Real hard conditions, real hard. Dry, sunny, I love it. Real rough. I find most of them growing along like highways, like right on the curb, you know, just real hard conditions. Where am I at? Here we are. I love that. Beautiful things that thrive in the hardest conditions. Tells you something. And they don't give up, man. They'll show up the next year. Nothing keeps them out. You know, except for maybe glyphosate. Dude, you put that stuff down on the ground for so long, it begins to weaken the trees. Like this whole thing where they keep spraying national forests so that they can plant pine for logging. First off, that monoculture is going to go up like a match. There won't be any native planting. Keep the roots, hold the soil down, dipshits. That's all right, it'll get all dry and it'll blow away and everybody will stand around and, I don't know, either blame or praise some god in the sky instead of just taking a hard look at what the hell we're all doing to the ground. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Did I say that? I mean that. I appreciate you if you stick around and listen to me ramble and whine. Oh, is this, what do I got in here? Yarrow? Man, I've got yarrow for days. Like, it's everywhere. This stuff moves like a weed. You see it here? Feathery green. It's really pretty. The bees love it. And that's a native plant. That grows. That's around here. More? They're pretty tiny yet, but you know what? Let's put one more in here. Well, there's the echinacea. I suppose it'll get drowned out by that. There's hosta coming up here, so this will get all filled in. Inside of, I don't know how long it'll take. They're coming up here. My oldest bought me that for Christmas a couple of years ago. Isn't that fun? That's the most handy garden tool I own. I use it a lot. It's what's called a hori knife. It's a Hori, Japanese design, right, of gardening tool. So I like that a lot. Hey, what do you know? Talking to people from other countries is actually worthwhile and a good thing. I learned so much, which is a good thing. To my American friends, I would encourage you to get out of this little American media bubble. Go start watching off-continent programming, movies, series, you know, put on the subtitles. It's glasses for your ears. Although the younger crew, man, definitely give you guys props because you guys are all about it. which is really nice. Most of you, anyway. The millennials and the Gen Zers and the... Once upon a time, you know, I play video games, right? I have since... Shit, man, probably 79 if I thought about it, right? Like Atari and Sega had these really old decks. Back then you could play like Pong. There's a couple of them that were this Wizard of Id, if I believe the name right. That was fun. Anyway, so I was kind of around for the whole progression of it, and I really, truly... Well, no, that's a strange looking vehicle. It's like a white Subaru, and it had like painted on cow spots to make it look like a Holstein. Anyway, really likes cows. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So I really believed that we'd end up in a kind of a Ready Player One situation, because we can talk to all these people from all over the globe and we become friends with them, right? I played video games with people from everywhere. So I thought back then, you know, this is gonna change the world. The internet, the communication, the coming together, the finding each other, community. And the whole thing is like, I don't want to bomb other countries when I know people who live there, right? I can't, it's harder to demonize people when you know them, right? That's not what happened, because all the tech bros and that one particular island class, right? Well, they groomed a whole generation. That's fine. I mean, it's not. That's just me. It's the most passive-aggressive statement ever uttered. It's fine. Sometimes I actually mean it, but, you know. Here we go. What else should I put some more in there? I know they're going to get bigger as long as they don't get eaten up by the bunnies. And they will get much bigger. So, and how long have we been doing this for? 37 minutes? Good Lord, if you're still here. Bravo, man. I love your guts. I'm happy to have you. Here, I'll stick one more in here. Put one of these pink ones in here. And some grass. Oh, I love that dagger, man. Just cuts it right up. There we go. All you witches out there, if you're looking for a dagger, for all your spell casting, that's what I do. I'm gonna plant something and cast a spell. You'll all grow and change the world, right? Change the whole big wide world for me. You know, these are kind of close together. If I dig one out of here, that's all. These two are wrapped up together. I don't know. Here, nope. Well, let's cut in here. Let's lift it out of here. There we go. Can't even see the tray I'm cutting them out of. That's fine. Right? Okay. I think I'll just stick you two in here together. And that's about it. You see that? Yeah. I'm doing all right here. Not much of a cinematographer, am I? Here. Oh, I kind of dug them out. You know, loosen the ground a little bit. So I'm just gonna push it, bank them all back up in there until I'm ready to put them somewhere. This one, his roots are showing. Mon Dieu! Right? There we go. Can't have naked flowers. Fencing, water, I'll do that. But you know what that looks like, right? So I'll hit pause, and then I don't have to awkwardly squat over here like this. So, anyway, it's a beautiful day. You should go out and get some.